So far we've seen how cool Lazan is and how we can use it to retrieve passwords stored on a Windows machine. The only problem with it is that we need to have access to the target computer to run this tool. Like we've seen before, we were running it from the Windows machine because this tool is a post-exploitation tool, so it's designed to be run once you gain access to the target computer. So you'll have to send the backdoor to the target person, hack their computer, and then use the methods that you're going to learn in the post-exploitation section to upload and execute this tool. But in many cases, you don't really want to hack into the target computer. You don't want that extra connection. You don't want that extra complexity. So in that case, you'd want to maybe just send that person a file, and then that file will, once they run it, they'll have Lazan running at the background and then send you a report to your email. Something similar to what happened with Blogger. So what we're gonna learn in this lecture is how to weaponize Lazan and be able to send a file to the target person, and once that target person runs the file, they'll execute Lazan. Lazan will get us all the passwords, store them in a file, and send them to us by email. This way we'll be able to use Lazan without hacking into the target computer. Now to do this, I made a very simple bash script, and I'm going to include the script in the resources of this lecture. I have it already downloaded here. So I'm going to open this with LeafPad. You can just double click it to open it with the text editor, but I'm going to open it with LeafPad because I have it zoomed in. And I'm not really going to focus on the code used in here, even though I'm using very simple code, but this is not a programming course, so I won't be focusing on the code. I'm going to be focusing on the options and how to deploy this script. So the first thing you need is the Lazan executable. And that's basically the file that we were executing on the Windows machine. So you want to go to their website, to Lazan, and download the Windows release of Lazan. And I'm going to go to the releases. Now the links for this is in the resources of the lecture. And I'm going to download the Windows release. And I'm going to open it instead of saving it. And we'll store this in my downloads. So I'm going to extract it and I'm going to put it in downloads, extract, and that's it. Let's close this. We're done with this. Now if we go back to the downloads, we'll see it in there. And we can see it right here. We have the Windows and we have Lazan. So the first thing that you want to do is you want to upload this to a location where it can be downloaded directly. So you want to have a URL for this, so you can upload it on Dropbox or Google Drive, but you want to make sure that it can be downloaded directly using a URL. So if you browse to the URL, you'll be able to directly download that file. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to put it in my web server in the web root. So I'm going to go to var www html, and I'm actually going to put it in eval files. And I'm just going to paste it in here. And what I mean by having a direct URL, if we go here on the Windows machine and go to 10, 20, 14 to 13, eval files, lazan.exe, we should be able to download it from here. Now I'm actually getting this error because of permissions, and I'm just going to change the permissions for that file. Now you might get this error as well, so I'll show you how to fix that. All we have to do for this is change the permissions for the file using the chmod command. So we do chmod 777 to grant all permissions to all users, and we're gonna put the file that we want to change its permission, which is var www html eval files lazan.exe. That's just changing the permissions for the file, so this is not really a necessary step, but you might have to do it if you get a forbidden like this. So now if we click on this, you'll see that we can directly download this file. There is no ads on the sides. There is no web page asking us to click on something to download. We can literally put this URL and we'll be able to download that file. This is very important. So if you upload the file to an online hosting or to your own website, make sure that you can download this file directly using the URL, or to copy the direct download URL. Now, we're going to use this URL in the first line of our script, which is the download URL right here. So you want to set this to the location where Lazan is stored. And for me, this is the direct URL, but I need to add evil files to it. So again, if I copy and paste this in the browser, I can directly download Lazan. This is very, very, very important. Now, the next thing you want to set is the email address that you're going to receive the reports on. So this is similar to Blogger. This is the email that I'm going to receive my reports with the passwords on. And you want to also give the password for that email address. Keep in mind, you need to allow untrusted apps to use this email account, and I showed you how to do this in the Blogger lecture. So I've already set this for this particular email address, so I'm not going to do it again. And that's it. These are the required options for this script. So if we send this script right now, it's going to work. You can also set options for the script, which are the exe file. This is the location where Lazan is going to be stored on the target computer. You can also set the location of the log file. This is the location of the file that's going to contain the passwords, and this is the location on the target computer as well. You can also set the arguments that we use with Lazan. If you remember, I said we can use a number of modules with Lazan to retrieve passwords. We can use browsers. We can use browsers -F, for example, for Firefox, -O for Opera. You can use memory. You can use all of these options. And in here, you can set, if you only wanted to use one or two of the options, of the modules, you can set them in here. But I just set this to all to run all the modules. We're trying to use this remotely, so we're going to try to get as much information as possible from the target. After this line, you don't really need to change anything. This is the code for the script, and it's a very simple code. I'm going to walk you through it very quickly because, like I said, this is not a programming course, it's a hacking course. So the first line in here is going to download a file, and it's basically gonna download our server or our Lazan standalone right here. Then we're gonna execute Lazan with the arguments, and we're gonna store that in our log file, the location that we picked in here. Then we're gonna delete Lazan just in case the person suspects something and goes looking for stuff. And this line right here is going to use the credentials that we set, so the username and the password of the Gmail account. Once done with everything, we're also going to delete the log file again, just to make sure that the person doesn't get very suspicious. Now Lazan and the log file are going to be stored in temp by default, so the user won't see them unless he goes there. So like I said, it's a very simple script. Just make sure you upload Lazan to a location where it can be downloaded directly. Set the username and the password of the email where you want to receive the reports, and make sure you allow third-party software to use that email account. Save this, copy it to our web directory, because again, we're not talking about advanced delivery methods. We're talking about very, very simple stuff. So we're going to talk about more advanced delivery methods later on. For now, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to store it in my evil files right here. And I'm going to rename this to runlazan.bat because it's named as txt, and txt doesn't really get executed on the target computer. If they run a txt, it's just going to open in Notepad. So I changed this to .bat, and this file is ready to be used. I'm going to go to my target computer and I'm going to download it. So I'm just going to put evil files. And we see it right here, runlazan.bat. I'm gonna download this file. I'm gonna save it. And then I'm gonna run it. Now the script is gonna run like this, and I know this is very suspicious, but we're gonna talk about this later in the course, and we'll see how we can make this very acceptable to the target person, how we can hide this, and how to deliver this in a very smart way. So even the delivery method that we're using now is pretty stupid. Like, the person have to put an IP and they have to actually click on the file to download it. But we're gonna be talking about all of that later, and we'll be able to get this to run in the background. But for now, we're just seeing how we can weaponize Lazan. And what's this gonna do now? Basically, it's gonna run Lazan like we did in the previous lectures. It's gonna store the output in a file and send the file to me by email to the email that I set. Now it's already done. I'm gonna go to my email. I've already logged into it to make this lecture less boring. And as you can see, I got an email from myself because I programmed the script to send the email from yourself. And if you click on it, it's telling us that there is a report in the attachments. If we open the attachment, you'll see that we have the Lazan output, very similar to the output we used to get on the computer. And it contains the passwords that we're looking for. So it has the password that I used when I was logged into this service. And we can also see the password that's stored in Firefox, which is coming from accounts.google.com. It's for johnwick@gmail.com, and the password is abc123, abc123.